All right. There's a live cam.
Yeah.
What's up, Wise Take? It's Thursday night. It's week 17 and another edition of Father and Son Building Blocks. That's right. I'm Patio Joe. You can follow me on Twitter at Patio Joe Rep. And I'm joined here by my son all the way in Chicago. That's right. At Cam G DFS. What's going on, son? How you doing today?
Pretty good. Just got back home from Christmas and everything, so that was a good time with the family and stuff. Hanging out.
Great. You were really good.
Yeah.
You didn't get too drunk. You didn't embarrass yourself. Me and Mom were very happy. We appreciate it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. So, how's your Christmas?
It was good. It was hectic. I swear, you have 3 kids, and you're trying to visit with family that you haven't seen in years and stuff, and it's just not happening.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. And I keep telling myself that this year is just going to be tough, and then in a couple of years they'll be running around with their cousins, and I won't even have to worry about it. But
yeah, for sure.
Right now it's just like, God, man, it's tough. But anyways, I'm here. It's Thursday night. It's week 17. It's one of those weeks. It's kind of like not really a preseason week because I don't play preseason DFS, but it's definitely a week where, there's teams that are not playing for much. There's some teams playing for everything. There's really only a few spots where you really, really want to invest in. I think that, if you're the GPP type of player, it might be one in the morning slate because I don't think a lot of people are going to go to there. Most of the ownership is going to go to the afternoon slate. But me being a cash game guy, I'm going to try and break down just probably the most obvious plays this week. What we're going to do here, guys, is we're going to kind of just really go game by game really quick in the early slate. And then we're going to go kind of talk about the later games a little bit more in depth. Give a little bit, maybe a top 3 at each position. And then, of course, don't worry, of course, we will have The Price is Right with Cam. So he doesn't know what's coming, but it's coming. So, Cam, what do you think about this slate? Are you toning down your bankroll a little bit? Because I am going to be toning it down just a little bit, I think. Who knows? But this is what I want to do. But what do you think about this slate? Are you kind of like thinking the same thing I am, or are you ready to jump in? What's up with that?
I probably should, but honestly, I'll probably just play the same because I've had weeks this year where I've done that and then I've ended up doing really well and then I get pissed off and then so it would probably be the smart thing to do, but I'll honestly probably just play the same just because I'll have the same process as I would a quote unquote normal week. So it's just breaking down the slate and it's just a lot more variables, obviously, right? Because motivation's in question and got a bunch of guys playing for certain things in terms of incentives or records and stuff. So you got to take little things into consideration, tweak your process a little bit. But I think I'll probably just play the same. I don't know though.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm looking at. We talked about some of the positions before we started. And to me, I feel like running back is the most trickiest this week. We'll get into it, but there's some running backs. It's the top guys are there, but they're all in situations where do you really want to go there and pay up a lot for that, knowing that, they might be pulled at halftime or they're injured or, why is Carolina going to risk McCaffrey this week? Why would you do that? Because if something happens and he tears his ACL or something this week, God, I hope that doesn't happen. But if that happened, he probably doesn't start the season. They're not making the playoffs. There's no reason.
Oh, yeah.
It's just.
Then you're left with you have Cam with his messed up shoulder, and then you got McCaffrey with a fucked up knee. You're just starting off next year on a great note. So
exactly. What
in
do
a
the Giants
meaningless
want to do?
game,
Park?
right?
Yeah,
Like, doesn't make any sense. But
I agree. So let's just start off with this. We're going to start off with the first game really quick. Miami at Buffalo. You want anything in this game? I'm crossing it off.
so I actually like in these later kind of season games with a rookie quarterback, I kind of do have a little bit of interest in the Buffalo Bills this week in terms of tournaments. I don't think you would touch them in cash, but for tournaments, I kind of do like a stack of like Josh Allen, Robert Foster, and even like Zay Jones or McKenzie. Like you could double it up there. But for me, it would really be Allen and Foster, just because those two have really been connecting. You got a bunch of targets there for Foster, and like just missed again last week on a couple big plays for Foster there, which he would have gone for 20 again. I like Allen going up against this Miami defense. They're way worse on the road, and going out of Miami, going into cold Buffalo. Xavier Howard's going to be out. And you got Josh Allen, who's like still trying to prove himself in the league. So I do like him at 6K. He's probably going to be one of the only quarterbacks though that I really like have a ton of interest in and paying down for.
You see what I'm drinking here, Cam?
What is that?
You know, this is a In-N-Out cup.
I see palm trees and like that's so fucking foreign to me. I have no idea.
Have you ever been to an In-N-Out Burger?
No, dude. Never.
Have you heard of In-N-Out Burger?
Yeah, right? Yeah, I've heard of In-N-Out. We just have like Shake Shack here.
Well, next time you go to Vegas with your family, go in. There's In-N-Out in Vegas. Try it.
Was there?
You know, yeah. There's an In-N-Out in Vegas. I'm telling you.
I might have been there then.
Yeah. No, there's none on the strip, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
You have to kind of go off the strip.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's move on to the next game. Dallas at the Giants. Is there anything here you would want? I don't see anything really you'd want in that at all. Nothing really I'm looking at.
It's not a priority play. Obviously, if you're making a ton of lineups, you can definitely do it. Maybe take a look at like Dallas's running game here against New York. If you think Zeke's gonna play him in tournaments. Obviously not in cash because he could get limited run, but then you could take a look at like Rod Smith. This is a guy who could, if they're gonna rest Zeke, he could come in and get 20 some carries with a pretty decent offensive line if they keep those starters in. But this game for me is mostly dependent on like Sunday morning news, right? On who's certain guys gonna play. But I thought I heard something like Jerry Jones was like, "Oh, we're gonna play all of our starters." Like, but who knows? You know.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't doubt that they're not going to play some of the starters. I just don't think they're going to play them the whole game to where you want to invest in them.
Yeah,
that's the whole. I just feel like, okay, midway through the third quarter or the second quarter, the halftime, they're done. They yank them. That's my thing. Let's move on to the next game. We got Jacksonville at Houston. Really quick, Houston needs this game, and Blake Bortles is mid-price on FanDuel, and there's nobody else at quarterback. Kessler's hurt. Like, I mean, I'm just saying in GBP at 6K, you know, my best lineups last week were Nick Foles against this same secondary.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying you can get you 30, but if you got you 20, I'm just talking out here. It's Thursday night. Is it crazy to think about Blake Bortles in a because they got nothing to lose, and this defense has played well the last few weeks, believe it or not.
Yeah. I actually don't hate that at all. Like that kind of just, I honestly didn't really even look at him all that much like this early on in the week, but I mean, that's pretty interesting because Blake's just like he's very like nonchalant, doesn't really give a shit about anything. I could see him just going in there against Houston, nothing to lose at 4-4. He uses his legs too, so that's a really good price for him against an offense too. And Jacksonville could be trailing, so he could just get a bunch of garbage time points, and that'll just allow you to get everyone else in you want. So I like that actually. That's pretty interesting playoff to look into that a little more.
Well, yeah, and you also think that I think that Jacksonville is not going to just lay down either. I think that they're going to play this game tough. You know, they went into Miami last week and won 17-7. And I just think that, you know, the Texans need this game. The Texans could go from, because they're in the playoffs, but they could go from winning the division is like the 6th seed or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
like, and believe it or not, the Titans could go from this like 6th seed into like the 2 seed or the 3 seed if weird things happen. There's so many things that can happen this week.
Yeah, if the Pats lose, I think.
Yeah, that's another thing. So that's the next game. We got the Jets and the Patriots. I think the Patriots are on an upset alert. I think the Jets are just the team to come in and win this game. I'm not saying I might have any of Sam Darnold or anything, and I think Robbie Anderson's going to be stuck with Stephon Gilmore. But would you play any of these Jets? Elijah McGuire, Chris Herndon? Is anybody on your radar? Anybody from the Patriots?
I think the only guy on my radar would be Maguire against this run defense for New England. I'm not touching Darnold on the road in Foxborough. Like you said, I think I'm going to fade Robbie as well here, 5'6", going up against Stephon Gilmore. He should be shut down. So really the only thing in this offense that I want is going to be Maguire. On the other side, man, I mean, it's a nut matchup for Brady here at home and like a kind of playoff warm-up game against the Jets, but I mean he hasn't really been the same guy this year, only putting up really one like ceiling game, 2 ceiling games this year that you'd want in like tournaments for this week. So but you just look at what Rodgers did, you look at what Watson did a couple weeks against this Jets secondary. They're giving up a ton of points to like number ones. You'll get Edelman probably against Buster Skrines in the slot, like really good matchup. So he was the other guy that I was looking at that I was like, he's interesting, but I don't know if I click on him just because how like bad he's been this year.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. This game is like we said, it was a free for all, but you tell me who's going to play and what's going to happen because I have no idea. We have Atlanta at Tampa Bay. The one guy that maybe stands out to me is Calvin Ridley. I could see him going off, but on the other side, I just don't see it. I just don't know where to go and like how long it's going to happen, and how it's going to work. So I feel like I just don't really want to deal with it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, if Coleman's going to miss at running back for Atlanta, you have Brian Hill at 3.9 on DraftKings, rushed 8 times for 150 yards. I think you could take a dart on him. He's probably going to be one of the only guys in that backfield that actually gets work against this Tampa defense. So I like him a little bit in tournaments. If we get the news that Coleman's going to sit, he left the game last week. Didn't participate in practice yet this week either. So he was kind of the main guy I was looking at. And I think the rest is kind of just like a pretty big risk in tournaments. A lot of these guys lacking motivation. I do kind of like the price on Mike Evans though, at 7.7, but I mean, just because I think Tampa's probably going to throw a ton, and he's pretty solid for like 8 to 10 targets here. So I like Evans and probably Hill, but outside of that, I mean, it's kind of tough to figure out who's really going to be motivated and who's like gonna actually play here. So those are the 2 main guys for me.
I mean, D. Millie saying in the chat that Godwin's gonna be chalk because D-Jax is out again, and he's 5,100 on FanDuel. I could see it happen. We know what happens when Godwin is chalk. Sometimes he gets you, but he burned you.
Yeah, dude.
He burned you a couple times a couple weeks ago. Like I don't know. Like he got 18 points against Carolina, but he literally. His game logs is 5.4, 0, 1.8, 18.6, 6.2, 6.5, 13.8. Like, you're telling me that's chalk? Like
that happens. My approach is I just try to find someone else in that price range, and I play the other guy, or I like differentiate my build where I'm paying up at wide receiver because I'd rather be on the side where like I'm not playing the chalk cheap wide receiver that has 1 out of 5 games where he does well, and then necessarily you're not even going to win tournaments because some other guy could match that score at the same price or something like that. Then try to like chase that. So I mean, I'm not going to play Godwin, especially if he's chalk. I guess I get the thought process, right? But
yeah.
I mean, that's just not a play that I typically make.
I mean, here's my thing. I would rather for $100 more, and you want to take chalk. I would rather take Jordy Nelson at 5,200. I mean, his game log is at least 14.7, 7.8, 11.8, 11. And you know he's going to get 11, 7, 8, and 10 targets. I mean, I'm not saying I just don't understand how it's chalk. I'm not saying he's not a bad play. I just don't see how he's going to be chalk just because this isn't the middle of the season and Djax is out. This is week 17. Djax out. Is he even going to play the whole game? What's going to happen? I mean, I could be wrong. Look, there's some times where I play 50-50s and I play catch games all the time. And I look at some guys and I'm like, how is he so highly owned? I didn't get that memo. And so I don't get how this memo Godwin is in a better is chalk at 5,100 with his game logs. I mean, I see the matchups, but Adam Humphries in the slot is just as, I think, going to be targeted just as much. I mean, you can get the Falcons over in the slot. So let's move on to the next game. I think to me, there's probably one of the locks of the week. Detroit at Green Bay, where we just lock it in Devontae Adams, especially in catch. I think he's awesome. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, the narrative, he needs like five some catches and like 130 yards for all the Packers single season receiving reception yards records. They have nothing to play for. They're at Lambeau. It's probably is like solid of a narrative that you're gonna get. He's just not practicing this week, but he's gonna play. He's almost a lock for, like we were talking about pre-show. I mean, he's probably going to get 5 for 130 and whatever he needs. So that's going to be 19, 18 points. And then he's usually a lock for a touchdown as well, just because that's how good he is. So at 8K, I think you lock him in cash, lock him in GPPs also, because at 8K, he's like a really solid price. So I like him a lot. And if Cobb misses again, I think you could look at some of these like secondary wide receivers for the Packers. Should get a pretty good matchup. Pretty good matchup in the slot. Yeah, you can talk about that guy because he's fucking awesome.
Kumaro?
Yeah. Dude, Rodgers loves him all preseason. Like, he was talking him up. He's like, he's gonna have a great year. Then he got hurt, had to miss like the first 12 weeks of the season. Kind of working his way back into form, but like he really likes this guy, and at 3K like this, he could be a really solid play. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, he got 3 targets, 68 yards, and a touchdown last week. So with a guy like Rodgers in a game like that, they're at home. It's the last thing. They're just going to sling it around the lot.
Yeah.
And, Darius Slay does not, worry me one bit. Adams is going to go in the slot, even if Slay travels in there. I'm not really worried. Let's move on to the next game. Carolina at New Orleans. Let's just cross off the next game and move on to the 425. The reason why we're crossing that game off is the Saints said they're not going to play him, at least not a lot. And Carolina, they're on to their third-string quarterback. I guess if you wanted to play the Saints defense, I guess you could. I wouldn't mind that. You're going against a third-string quarterback in the dome. I could see them getting, a pick 6 in the first quarter or first half, and you getting your 12 to 15 points, and that's all you really need from the Saints D. You see anything else?
No, man. I'm not gonna play it. Like you were talking about, like, there's no need for either of these teams to really play anyone. I mean, Carolina's secondary has been really bad. So if they're not playing Breeze, like, you could take a dart on Bridgewater or something here at 5-3. At home, I mean, the dude has something to prove. Like, he's trying to make a contract again because he's been riding pine for the last couple of years. So, I mean, at 5-3, if you're playing tournaments, I don't necessarily, like, hate that either. It's just one of those situations where you're kind of just guessing, right? Like I don't have like research behind me that's gonna say, oh, Teddy Bridgewater is gonna drop back 35 times and throw to this guy, and this is why. Like Carolina's secondary has been bad, and they're gonna bench Drew Brees, and Teddy Bridgewater is gonna step in and be the quarterback. So that's all I got for you. But you could take a shot on him.
Yeah. Person in the chat, Myron Kidd thinks Galladay's in a smash spot. What do you think of Galladay?
Yeah, this fucking Lions team, man, they're so frustrating. They can't really pass protect. I hate Matthew Stafford. He's been garbage this year, but I mean, Galladay is definitely a fair price, 6'6". I just haven't had very good luck with him this year. But Packers secondary has been really bad, so this just kind of seems like a scenario where Detroit might have given up on the season. They're going into Green Bay, really tough place to play. That crowd's going to be fired up. I feel like Green Bay has a little bit more to play for. Like they have a new coach, Devontae Adams, trying to chase a record. I'm sure Rodgers is like kind of rejuvenated and just like you said, going to sling it around and stuff. So I definitely favor Green Bay's side, but I mean, Galladay's fine. He's just not one of those guys that I really target at 6'6".
You have another thing. What do you think about McCaffrey this week? Because I don't think that we said that he could be in a smash spot but get pulled at halftime.
I mean, he's in a bad spot technically, but I mean, he's
9,400. I just don't.
McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing New Orleans, so it's a terrible matchup. In New Orleans, like, unless if they sit a bunch of defensive players, but I can't really see like a scenario where McCaffrey goes out and plays the full game. But
that's my thing. I just don't see him playing the full game.
I mean, he did get 35 touches last game, so
yeah,
who the hell knows? But yeah, that's a scenario for me where I'm gonna have to look and see. A lot of these games that are like questionable, I'm gonna have to see like news later on in the week, like what these teams are doing based off of like personnel and everything like that, because that definitely does make a difference. I mean, if New Orleans is gonna sit some of their defensive guys up front, like that's gonna be a boost to McCaffrey in this matchup. The only thing is McCaffrey is in a pretty good matchup against New Orleans in terms of receiving, just not rushing. So he could do a lot of damage through the air. I mean, I just don't really know who's going to get him the ball. Kyle Allen, who knows, man? I mean, he's fine, but definitely would not play. If you're playing cash, like I don't think I would go McCaffrey. I think he's a little risky.
Yeah. All right, so that kind of does the morning slate sort of. Let's move on to the afternoon slate where there is 8 games. And we're kind of going to go, if you can, Cam, just divide it. We're going to go position by position now because I feel like this is where the meat is going to be, meat and juices going to be. So let's start off with quarterback. To me, I feel like we already talked about Blake Bortles down at 6K. I want to know what I can't wait to see what Cash says about him on the live stream. You probably think it's crazy. But,
I can't wait for that either.
Yeah. So to me, I think that in cash games, at least for me, I'm going to start off with either Mahomes or Ben. The reason why I'm leaning to Ben, on FanDuel, he's $800 less. And I think that Ben's going to be playing the entire game, slinging it around, because Baltimore and Cleveland are going to be close, and Pittsburgh's going to have to keep playing. Conversely, I can see the Chiefs getting up early, taking the pedal off the metal, and maybe Mahomes gets 2 touchdown passes, gets his 50, and they kind of rein it in. And at 9,500, I'd rather just take Ben. Is there anybody else you're really looking at? Because I like Ben this week at home against this terrible Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's Mahomes at the top, then it's Ben, and then for me it's Josh Allen. at 6K. Those are like the three guys that I'm really honed in on right now. Outside of that, I mean, everything's like kind of iffy. Rodgers, I could see at home. He wouldn't be on like any of my main teams. Russ Wilson at home, second half of the year. Like, I think Winston's fine if he's gonna throw 50 times. But outside of that, I really just like Mahomes, Roethlisberger, and Allen, just because I feel like they're all trying to play for something.
I've also seen very popular in cash games is Lamar Jackson. They love Lamar Jackson because you got the rushing ability, and he passed. Boy, he made that Chargers secondary. He tore up the Chargers secondary last week. You know the funny thing is though is that he still last week he tore up the Chargers secondary, but then he didn't rush for anything. So he still only had the same amount of points he had the week before. So I don't know. I just feel like Ben is just going to be tossing it all week, all day. I want to lock in Ben at quarterback. Running back, this is where it's just like a freaking bloodbath. I just really don't know who's going to go where. We can just start off at the top. Gurley, no. Melvin Gordon, he's interesting because the Chargers do need something, but I think he better get it early because he ain't going to get it. They might be pulling him late because if the Chiefs get ahead, Chargers are gonna pull everybody because they got to play next week. Probably they're gonna be on the road, so I don't like him. James Conner, we still don't know if he's gonna play. If not, Jalen Samuels makes a great play. That makes it easy. But then I'm going down. Man, there's nobody. There's nobody. I'm like, wow, I really got to have him. Like Chris Carson is like the first guy at 6,400 that I really like, and I feel like. I'm hoping he gets the volume. Is there anybody you like?
Yeah, so I think any of those guys are pretty viable at the top in tournaments, but I think probably the more optimal approach is just going to be to pay down. I like James Conner if we get news that he's definitely going to play. I know he's been practicing. So if he's going to be the starter, I like Conner at 7.5 for sure. And then you're looking at kind of a bunch of backups, but like you were talking about Chris Carson against Arizona at home, really good matchup, really good price there at 6.5. And then Damian Williams for Kansas City. I like him at 6.1. I know Spencer Ware's back, but he's kind of been the guy there, getting most of it done for them. So I like him. Jamal Williams, I'm gonna say it again. Every time the dude starts, he scores. So he'll probably score again this week. So I like him at 6K. And then going down, like I said, I think you could take a look at a lot of these backups. So if you don't think Zeke's gonna play, give Rod Smith a look versus this Giants rush defense. If Todd Gurley doesn't play, I like CJ Anderson at 5.4. Dude went off against Arizona, obviously, or like the nut matchup, but 20 carries and a touchdown last week. So at 5.4, if he gets even 15, he's doing good for you in cash. McGuire at 5.3 in a pretty good spot versus the Pats. And then Sony Michel versus the Jets, I think, is pretty viable. And then last one, actually two more I was looking at. I don't hate Brian Hill for Atlanta, and then as gross as it sounds, Doug Martin versus Kansas City. I don't hate if I'm playing like a Chiefs stack. You can kind of bring it back with versus this Kansas City defense that's just atrocious.
Yeah, the guy that somebody brought up in the chat that's very interesting because we have Philip Lindsay with a
yeah, I was looking at that, but
so Royce Freeman, you already will serve as the lead back. Chargers have been generous on the ground.
Fucking A, dude.
4,700. He's dirt cheap. I mean, what's his price on? He can't be more than 3,500 on DK.
He's 3.5. Royce Freeman's 3.5 on DraftKings.
That's pretty good. I don't even play DK. I said it can't be more than 3.
But then you have like, dude, I don't know. You have like Booker, and this offense is just so gross. I know they're at home, but it's like
It's true. I'm not saying
it's so bad. I just
yeah.
Even if one of those guys would get 20 carries, I could see them getting like 40 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really bad. So
yeah, I mean, Booker might be a better play on DK, especially because he'll get more of a passing game.
I get it from like a volume perspective, but just like actually thinking it through, I just feel like they won't be productive. But
yeah. So, but anyways, I don't know. I just think that it's a play. I don't know. Running back this week is really, really bad. Like it's just you really don't know who's going to get the carries and for that for the entire game. So it's going to be interesting. Just definitely as the week goes on, we'll definitely move in. What about Nick Chubb against Baltimore?
No, I have no interest in Chubb. I think he's kind of slowing down a little bit. I didn't play him last week at all. I'm sure he'll get volume, but I'm not going to play him on the road against Baltimore.
All right. Let's move on to the receiver spot. Like we said earlier, we like Devontae Adams, but in the later rounds, it's AB. He just rapes the Cincinnati secondary over his career. I like AB. I like Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, because we've got Bears. Their secondary is a little bit tough, a little bit banged up. Those are the guys up at the top. Anybody else you're really looking at right now?
Yeah, I like Antonio Brown for sure versus Cincinnati. Tyreek Hill against Oakland to pair with Mahomes. That pairing always has 80-point upside. Juju is pretty much in the same spot as AB, so I like him. He kind of blew it for them last week, so I'm sure he'll be fired up to play this week at home. So I like Juju as well. Adams, like we were saying, I'd play him in cash if you're playing cash, and then Edelman in the slot versus Buster Scrines against the Jets at home. I like him at 7,600. Those are the kind of like the pay up guys I'm looking at this week.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody down below you really like him for value? I mean, obviously we said Jordy Nelson at 5,200. We kind of brought him up earlier. Is there anybody else that's like sticking out right now? Because I like the Godwin thought, but obviously we talked about anybody else.
Yeah, I still like Robert Foster this week. I know his price is caught up to him, but I think him and Allen have a good thing going, and I like Allen this week. Miami's defense going up to Buffalo, they're really banged up, and they've been bad recently. So I like him at 5-1. Jordy I do like at 4-9 on DraftKings. And super punt value, like we were talking about, I do like Kumaro. That's pretty sexy. And I'll be watching the game, so that even makes it better.
All right. Let's move on to tight end. To me, I feel like in cash games, I don't like stacking in cash games. So I'm going with Kelsey as my exposure to Mahomes. Kelsey is just going to rate this Raiders secondary. He did it last time. What did he do in Oakland? I know he had
went the fuck off.
12 receptions, 168 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it makes it, to me, I feel like in cash games, that's where you go, because tight end is a freaking wasteland, and you just don't know where they're going to go. I guess you could go with Ertz. He had a great game last week too. They need to win, and Washington's not great. But I'm taking Kelsey and not thinking twice about it. Anybody else you like?
I mean, yeah, you could play. Like, it's pretty much just like those top 5 guys. Everyone else is super.
Yeah, you could play. Yes, you could play those top 5. You could play Kittle. You could play Cook. Whatever. Yeah. I understand that, but to me, I feel like in cash games, just lock in Kelsey.
Oh yeah, just play Kelsey. Don't overthink it. Then tournaments just like Ertz, Kittle. I do like Cook and that kind of like if you're playing Mahomes, Kelsey, you could double tight end with Cook. Ingram's in kind of a tough matchup. OBJ's not playing, right? He's done.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, he's gonna get a ton of looks, but the matchup isn't the best versus Dallas if they end up playing other starters on defense. So if he's gonna be popular again, I don't necessarily love that. And then way down below, I mean, fuck. This is gross. Yeah, just pay up for sure. But like Herndon at 3-4, I like him. He definitely gets a lot of looks, especially in like important downs and red zone. And then Ian Thomas, you can take a peek at too. He's been getting targets since he's stepped in for Greg Olsen, but outside of that, it's pretty gross. So I would just look at those two if you really need to pay down. But I'm definitely gonna make it a priority to pay up for Kelsey this week.
Mm-hmm. Nice. No, so let's move on to defense. Defense this week, I feel like I don't really want to get a team that's on the road that has nothing really to play for. I like the Bills at 3,700 on FanDuel at home. I just feel like that's just like they're cheap. It's just such a cheap defense right now. Like to me, I like them. Is there any other defenses that really are popping out at you?
Yeah, I like the Seahawks versus the walking pick six, Josh Rosen. At home, they're gonna want to win too, so I like them.
Saints.
I like the Buffalo call. I like them, and I do actually kind of like the Packers defense against Detroit. Packers can get a pretty good pass rush. Detroit's gonna be outside. It's pretty cold in Green Bay right now, and they just can't pass protect. And Stafford's been awful, so I don't mind Green Bay's defense back in Lambeau either, and they're really cheap, 2,400. So should have a pretty safe floor there with some touchdown upside.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's move on to top threes, and then we will do the ever popular breakfast. Quarterback, go for it. Top three.
Yeah, so it's just Mahomes, Roethlisberger, and at this point, it's Allen for me. Kind of pay down.
Okay. All right. For me, it is Ben, Mahomes, and I'll throw it. And I'm gonna go with Blake Bortles. Boom, 6,000, 6K. Do it with Blake.
I like that.
Running back.
So it's gonna be Connor if he's for sure going. I like him as probably like the highest guy I would play. And then Chris Carson against Arizona, and Damian Williams for Kansas City.
All right, I'm going with Mel Gordon if he's going to get a full workload. I like Sony Michel as getting a lot of running. And I haven't played him all year. And I think if Connor's out, I like Jalen Samuels. Yeah. Wide receiver.
Yeah, Adams up top for sure at 8K. I like him a lot. I like Edelman at 7.6, and shit, I'll go Tyreek Hill, but I'm really falling in love with that 3K Kumaro.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be sexy when he scores like 30.
For me, it's Adams, it's AB, and it is
AB. Yeah, I like him.
Robert Woods. Tight end, Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle. Those are my top 3.
Yeah, Kelsey 1, 2, and 3. Just play
them. Defense, I got the Bills number 1. I have the Seahawks number 2. It's just a price play. And then number 3, I have Steelers.
Yeah, I have the same 2, Seahawks, Bills, and then Packers.
Nice. Very nice. All right, let me just cue up the music here, sir. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. Did you get anything good for Christmas? What'd you get? What's your present?
I got like one of those Microsoft Surface Pros or whatever for school.
Wow. Looks
so
awesome.
That'd be nice because we have like a bunch of stuff next year where it's like patient confidentiality, so they can't like print the notes or anything. So we have to like do it all on our own and stuff. So we can have like the high tech shit. So I got that. And then just like a bunch of clothes and stuff. But that was the main thing, which is gonna be really nice. It's gonna make my life a lot easier. And this shirt that I'm wearing.
Nice. What'd your girlfriend get you? Anything good? Did she get you that?
Yeah, so she actually got us so she actually works, unlike me. It got me a trip, or like us a joint gift to Seattle over my spring break. So we're going up there for like 5-ish days on my spring break, like, which it's the wackiest spring break because
you're going to a cold place.
Yeah, but listen to this. Like, okay, so yeah, we like doing weird, going like to different places. Like I've been to like Florida and shit a bunch of times. Nice, but like I kind of like doing stuff in like bigger cities, not like sitting on a beach. But my spring break's in like February. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like it's usually been like super late, but yeah, I was like, what the hell? But yeah, so that's what she got me. So that was super nice. And then I just got her like this expensive coat thing that she wanted. So, but she definitely outdid me because she has an actual job.
So we have a question from D. Millie. Patio, my daughter just started teething and she's miserable. Do you have any advice for when Cam was teething when he was younger? Yeah. What you need to do is you need to take something like something rubber or something like that and put it in the freezer. And then let it freeze and then give it to them and then they just chew on it. And they just love chewing it. You love doing that the whole time. It was great. You know what? Also the just the regular pacifiers cold, that worked too. And then they actually just have teething rings that you can get at any a children's store, D-Millie, and that helps a lot. So I hope that helps out. That being said, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time for the #1 DFS game show on a Thursday night on YouTube. That's right, The Price is Right, featuring Patio Joe and Cam. That's right. All righty, Cam. First up.
Is this on FanDuel?
On FanDuel.
All right.
Bring it up.
I'm going to pull it up.
There we go. Pulling it up. That's right. Our producer Steve's in the back laughing right now.
All right,
this is his favorite part. This is his favorite part of the show. He always comes back to this part. It's great. He's back now. He's waiting. All right. So at the quarterback spot, 7,800. Jared Goff.
I don't think it's right. I don't think the motivation's there.
Motivation's not there. How about this? He won people some fantasy titles last week. If Todd Gurley sits at 6,200. DJ Anderson.
Yeah, that price is right.
That's like a locked in. I think.
Yeah, I like that.
Especially if you're paying down a running back. At wide receiver, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Adam Humphries.
What's his price?
6,300.
No, a little too expensive.
All right. And it's tight end.
That was a good one.
5,600. David Njoku against the Baltimore Ravens.
No, terrible play.
Just play Kelsey.
Yeah.
And finally, at defense, 4,500, the New Orleans Saints.
I think that price is right with the matchup they have versus like potentially a fifth string quarterback. So I can play them.
Ooh, that's right. That's right. All right, folks. That is going to do it for the Week 17 preview show. Father and son building blocks. Be sure to get that day pass. Join the nation. Get the NBA thing. We got this deal going where it's like half off for the NBA the rest of the season. That's just awesome.
Did you see NBA last night?
I know we won. We just smashed again. CK.
They went they went fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like CK, Pauly, and Cash all put out like a core, and they all went bananas, and like everyone just went like everyone won like 4 figures.
That's awesome. I'm telling you guys, basketball's our best sport here at the nation. So get a day pass, get a week pass, join the nation, join it for a month. You can get the whole basketball season for like $90. I think it's an $85, like you're like almost half off for the rest of the season. So you use the promo code. It's on my Twitter account at Patio Joe Ref. Check it out. And give us a like, thumbs up on Podbean, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, all you NFL guys, we got the Y stream featuring Pauly D and Cash and DFS on Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. And don't forget, we got Cam's cheat sheets coming out, my FanDuel article coming out. We got DraftKings coming out. We got the DraftKings article comes out from CK. So we got all the content. And don't forget, we probably will be back to do a wild card preview round with me and either Pauly D or Cam next week. So for my man Cam, I'm Patio Joe. And as our man CK always says in the back, good luck. Yeah. Good, Steve.